Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I'm Zon, the Daddy Dev. I also go by the moniker Title Pending on the internet. And welcome to devlog number 2, an official devlog number 2 for the Rakugo plugin project. If you're unfamiliar with Rakugo, it is going to be a plugin, a generic story management system for Godot 3.1. Currently, there's a build for Godot 3.0, but the developers, I guess that includes me, us developers on the project are working to make a 3.1 version that will be very feature rich. And the idea of having this plugin is simple. If you have Godot, you can use our templates and get started on making a game with story-driven mechanics, especially if you're doing game jams. Now, unlike regular Godot, this plugin, thanks because in part Will Nations has joined, and I'll talk more about why Will Nations joining this is great and how that's created a back-end and a front-end version of this project, is the idea is that with custom programming, coding nodes, and these templates, custom templates, you'll be able to get started on a game relatively quickly with story mechanics. Again, not going too much into what the last video was, story mechanics are simple. Anything that has a story, like characters talking to each other, or a quest system, this management plugin will simply track players' choices within the game and how that affects the overall game. I hope that sounds pretty cool. If it does, well, welcome to the club. This is the reason why I joined up, and I'm trying to do my best to support this project. Now, what we have here is we have 3 templates that we're going to be working on. I'll be talking about as a game designer, I'll be talking about the first template, which is a phone game simulator, and these other templates like Walker Shooter, a 3D space game, which is very similar to the Godot Jammers project that I'm still kind of working on, so that's going to be coming to form, but I'm going to start over and make a 3D space game template for this project, and these are the 3 ones that we're going to start off from the bat. Now, as more eyes get on this project and more interest, I'm hoping to get more feedback on what templates we should work on going into the future. Okay, so again, if anyone who sees this has an idea for a template they would like for us to see, please put it in the comments below, or questions about the project, put it below. And if you scroll down here, you'll see links to the official itch.io, to the GitHub, so forth and so on, to anything or anyone I refer to if you're interested in seeing more of the project, okay? Now, before I get into more of the front end and back end development of this project, the Rakugo 3.1 story management plugin for Godot 3.1, I do want to get back into game design and talk more about this template. One of the reasons why I'm so big, or bigger than my usual videos, is so I can show people this. Oopsie. And what this is basically I took the idea of storyboarding from film and animation, and I made it related to the UIs I have to make for the game. So the idea is that UI number 2 is going to be the loading screen, not the loading screen, but it's the user interface for loading saved games, okay? So this is where the saved game files will be. You can scroll down and click your loading saved game, which, good news, Jebediah said he is going to finish the load save features this weekend. We'll see what happens. If not this weekend, probably next weekend. Once that feature is done, you can start using this plugin to make some story-driven games, huh? Okay, all right. So anyway, from here, it then goes into this user interface. And what this is this user interface in the simulation will give you the in-game time that you're starting the game and or the date. And this is very key because what it'll do is it'll tell you within a certain time period, say that your game is only like in the game is 7 days. Game world time 7 days. This will help tell the player how many days they have left between events. Moreover, like some other games that are out there, there could be battery life. So just like a real phone, as this is a simulation, the battery could drain or die depending on certain events in the game, which will then, give the player this feeling that they're actually seeing a different world through their phone, interacting with a different world through their phone. That is the goal of that. Immersion, trying to create immersion there. So I'm borrowing that from some other games that I've seen out there. The other thing then is that after that, the player goes to a desktop. And the idea of this desktop is you'll have different areas. We'll be going to the chat app specifically, but there could be RPG Town could be somewhere here where you get quests. Your bank could be here. News-related app could be here. All these other apps could be here to create the simulation and make it feel more real. As far as a game template ready to use. Finally, we go to 4 when the app opens, and I want to talk about that because I'm very proud of my design notes. I first want to shrink myself because I'm so big. It kind of scares me. But anyway, I initially created it more like a classic app and a classic chat app. And the idea is that you had a scroll bar to go up and down. And this was the spacing I had. Some pretty good big icons for the CGs. What is CGs? I can't, computer graphics, right? I don't know. I can't remember what that stands for. But anyway, like these icons would be the CGs and this would be the text. But then I realized this just takes too much space. So what I ended up doing is I ended up looking at more of a modern design. And as you can see here, this is the modern design where the actual scrolling is not a button, it is a touch screen. Of course, the problem here is that the initial build of this template in like testing it, so forth and so on, is going to be pretty much PC only. Since it's going to be pretty much a PC build or a HTML build, well, HTML won't be that big of a problem. Instead of having a scrolling, touch the screen to scroll up and down the text, I want to have these buttons here to go back and forth. And the middle place could be a place where a pop-up menu pops up so you can go back through the desktop, so forth and so on, as the template evolves or develops. Now, right off the bat, as I've focused, and the reason why I'm starting with number 4, the chat app, as far as the user interface, is because Jebediah had that programming. He has that code done. This seems to be the best use of my time, is to create something, visuals, for something that's already programmed. Now, moving here, what you can see here, which is really cool, is that I have these tops, right off the top. Sorry, bad pun. Anyway, these tops right here go up, and they're not connected to anything. And the reason why they're not connected to anything is so that this can actually be enlarged or shrank to the top or the bottom. I'm hoping that that can be programmed, as I've seen it before, maybe as a tile map, and these could actually tile one line per the line of text that you would see, and that we would just program this to pop up or down from the top or bottom. That is the idea. I don't know exactly how to do it. I've seen it done before from Kids Can Code. So Will, Jebediah, anybody? If you can tell me how to do that, I will be asking other communities if I do get stuck, because that's what you're supposed to do. I'd love to know how to make this, again, be generative to the size. Focus. Generative to the, hello, autofocus. Come on. Oh boy, sorry I'm blurry. Okay, generative to the size of text that you'll actually see the text in. So I've been working on that, and hopefully that turns out pretty good. So that's that as far as design notes and as far as the game designer part. Now, let's get back into the development side about this, the programming for you programming people out there. The conversation was pretty open. You can see it on our Discord back and forth. But the idea is that Will Nations, gosh, he had these ideas for Godot Journey, which is very similar to what we were trying to do as far as Rakugo. So what Jebediah, Will, and I don't know how to say that, decided on is that the idea of this is that they will be, because I'm not the best programmer. I've said I'm not probably going to do any real programming on this stuff, but they're going to be working on the back end where this Godot Journey and Godot Next will be working on the back end of this project, but the front end will be Rakugo. So what that means, and again, I'm going to run this by the guys. It's guys right now, but ladies, gals, anybody is free to join this project. I hope that's an inclusive message enough. We could look for anybody's help who's willing to give the time or use our stuff. Please use it. That's open to anybody. But right now, it's the fellas. What can I say? I'm going to run this by them, but as far as I know, the idea is the front end stuff, the easier use stuff, the templates, will be in Rakugo. So if you are a novice and this is where you want to start, you want to do a game jam, Rakugo will be the first plugin that you should download and connect it to Godot 3.1, as it will have these templates ready to use with story mechanics. If your game, you want to consider using story mechanics in a game jam or for a game project. So that is the idea. This will be the front end of Rakugo, as Godot Journey and Godot Next will be the back end, handling a lot of stuff, handling a lot of issues as far as a programming design situation that we've had, like save load features being solved now because of Jebediah and William talking about this. This is really cool. So if you're not familiar with Will Nation, just a quick shout out. Thank you so much, Will, for joining us. He is prolific. I love saying that word, prolific, but he really is. He helps a lot of people on the Facebook group. Whether you have a big question or a small question, he will give you the answer. He will give you, unfortunately, sometimes it's such an in-depth answer, you may have to spend some time Googling the answer that he gives you. But in the end, you will learn more about programming and Godot. And that's been my experience with his advice. Sometimes he gives very simple, basic advice that I understand, or at least I understand it right off the bat. And other times he gives me amazing advice that takes me some time to process and a lot of copying and pasting into Google to find out what the heck he's trying to tell me. And it's always fun. It's always good. So I'm very glad that he's decided to join this project, okay? So just to reiterate some of the points from this official devlog, these are the first 3 templates that we're going to be working on. Again, I'm doing these devlogs, and I'm a huge supporter of this project because I want to have more eyes on it. So I hope that as this gains more positive attention, we can get some more real feedback, some very constructive feedback. And one of those things, I know I'm asking it now, it's way too early because this is devlog number 2, but I want to consistently be asking it when I do talk about the templates. What template would anyone like to see next? Is that going to be a platformer, a 2D platformer, because those are easy to make and then you can test out the plugin? Is that something you'd like to see next after the phone simulator? You know, a top-down shooter template? You know, within reason, please, you know, put a comment or question related to what type of template or how these templates work, so forth and so on. Given this, even Jebediah and I talked about one of the templates, what he wanted to do, which was a, like an adventure game. But the problem with making an adventure game is that it would require more like functions and features to be added that are just not there yet. But that is one of the templates he wants. He wants like a classic adventure game, and that's on the plate, but it's not here yet, okay? So again, please insert your comments and questions below wherever you see this video. Look at the backlinks that I'll post wherever I post this, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, so forth and so on. And thank you so much for taking the time to get to the end of this video. Insert catchy phrase here, and I hope whatever you're working on, it's amazing. And if you've got projects you'd like to share, post them below. I always like checking things out. It's kind of the whole thing. It's why we do the thing we do. I'll see you in the next one.